Ready? What's going on, ladies and gents? It's your man Hans Nobi, and today is my 6th anniversary of moving to New York City from Houston. And I kind of want to go into story time a bit. So I moved to New York from Houston officially July 27th, 2015. Back in Houston, I was actually doing music production full time, right? So between selling beats, taking studio sessions, engineering, live sounds, shout out to Cleveland Jones, DJing house parties, that's how I was able to make money for myself. And at the time, I also had a part-time job at a store that I'm not sure if I can mention. I won't mention it, but if you know, you know. But anyway, my money came from music. The money I got from the store was just enough to like cover like the minimum basis, but rent always wasn't covered from that job, so I had to hustle. On, I guess, July whatever 14th or whatever, I remember sitting in my apartment in Memorial City. I'm sitting in the dark, and I'm having these thoughts. So I'm drinking a little bit, which I probably shouldn't have been doing. And I'm just contemplating, sitting in the dark, drinking, contemplating, and I kept thinking to myself, this may be the dumbest thing I may have done. If I'm having a hard time breaking into the market in Houston and making something work, what makes me think I'm gonna make something work in New York City? That doesn't make any sense, right? Logically, that doesn't make any sense. I told myself that if I was gonna pursue my dreams, I might as well go after it and then fail. So at least I say I tried, right? So as soon as I had that thought, literally the next minute, I'm using an app called Let Go, and I sold my mattress, which is the last piece of furniture that I had. The Mexican family came in, bought the mattress, and I said, oh, well, that's it. I'm kind of in the corner because I had no furniture. I sold everything. I think the only thing that was selling my apartment was like a domino table that would wind up like giving a Goodwill and a folding chair. I think that was it, and like maybe a blender that I knew I would have to throw away. And that was it. But something happened when I got here. So I landed July 27th. I made my official announcement on July 28th. But when I got here, I went and interviewed for intern position at Matrix Studios, like the 29th. And I went crazy in trying to make something happen. The reason why I did that was I started to find a way to use my fear as fuel and not so much as a roadblock. And what I mean by that is, if I had a thought that, like for instance, like, yo, no one's gonna take my beats. I said, okay, cool. So let's start making more and let's get better. So I would go on YouTube, look at tutorials. I would call engineers how to mix them better. I would try to sit in on sessions if I felt that, artists weren't going to jump on my beats, or maybe the artists were going to jump on my beats. I started developing an email list. So I aggressively went out to find artists to say email beats too. If I felt that no one was going to take me serious, I started to use that fear to focus on building my brand. And so that's where HansNobi.com, the website, that's when I started doing all these other things. I felt like there wasn't enough money coming in. I would try to find ways to create more more sources of income. And the reason why I want to share that story is for the artists that follow me is, what's your fear? What is the one thing that's in your mind? So when you're sitting up and you're like, am I good enough? Does anyone know me? Am I ever going to get into where I need to go? Am I going to have a great performance at the show? Whatever else. Instead of using that fear and kind of spiraling out of control, where like you're based, and people do, it's human nature, but people find ways to affirm their fears. So you start doing stuff like YouTubing, why you'll never leave a 9 to 5 to become a full-time artist. Why you'll never succeed, why you never get to the industry, why you'll do this, that, and the third, and you start reaffirming your fears. And I know people do this. People don't say it, but I know people do it because you start to hear like a common thing. And you're just like, okay. So, and what I mean by that common thing is with the artists that I do talk to, whether it's on a weekly basis or whenever else, is this common theme of, I don't know if I'm going to make it. And my response is, if you don't know, why don't you use that feeling of you don't know you're gonna make it, which is a fear, to go find out how to make it. Go prove to yourself that you don't have what it takes, because why waste time on wondering if you have what it takes when you can go prove that you don't have to go what it takes. So why not go hire a publicist? Cool, you feel like you should be on, go hire a publicist. If you feel that you have the next biggest single, cool, go prove it. If you feel that, and that's one way. If the other side of it, if you feel like you're not good enough, okay, cool, well, go find ways to go get better, so that way you sort of sequester that fear. And that's what I had to do when I moved up here. Was I'm in a new environment. I know a few people, but not like, at the time when I came up here, there was a producer named King Henry that I got real cool with, who introduced me to Madley. Madley introduced me to Rivers, and then that transitioned to something else. Then there was First Love Music, who I knew through a guy named Saiz, and that that relationship built into something, and I made it work. And I think that artists, you should be doing the same thing, which is use your fear. And I'm quoting Jimmy Iovine, but use your fear as a tailwind, not as a headwind. And what I mean by that is, if you use it as a headwind, you're kind of going which way, but if you can use it as a tailwind, it can propel you to where you need to go. So, and also at the same time, if we're keeping it a bug, a lot of times your fear is really just your gut check to say, you're not doing enough, right? So if your fear is no one's ever going to discover you, that's really a gut check to say, like, you're really not focused on building your brand. If you feel like, A&Rs are not gonna like your music, you kind of have a feeling like, I really did do my best. So it's like, no, you really didn't, right? Which is totally fine, and it's a normal thing, but that comes with constantly improving. So there's records out now that I produced that I would sit down, like, I would kick 2020 Hans Nobi's ass right now if you put us in the studio. He can't even see me. But that's normal if you're working on getting better. But I say all that to say, use your fear as a tailwind. You know what you need to improve on, so go do it. That's it.